They escorted me to my work. Do you need us to explain to your boss why you're late? No, sir. Thank you, but I'm sure when I explain, he'll understand. You did a good job today, lad. You should be proud. The police officer left, and I felt warm inside. I was proud, but then I looked at my watch and swore. I was late. Not terribly late, just 15 minutes. But that was enough. My boss, Richard, was waiting, arms crossed, sneering like he had been looking for an excuse. You're late, John. Again. Sir, I was helping someone who got into an accident. Do I look like I care? This company doesn't run on sob stories. You think you're special? You're not. You're late, and that comes with consequences. I clenched my fists. I wanted to yell, to explain, but I knew it wouldn't matter. Richard thrived on making people feel powerless. You're fired. I stared. I was struck dumb. I looked around the office and saw everyone glaring at my boss, but they were as powerless as I was. Richard followed me to my desk and watched with his arms crossed and with a nasty smile as I packed up my desk. Then, I was gone, unemployed and miserable. My name is John, and I'm about to tell you the best story about revenge. It all started when I was in my car, driving to work. It was just another Monday morning. The kind where you drag yourself out of bed, run on too little sleep, and pray the coffee at work isn't as terrible as the boss. You see, my boss was on a permanent power trip. He likes to pointlessly order around his employees, making them do work they're not supposed to be doing, and humiliating them by shouting at them in the middle of the office so everyone can watch. He walks around the office to try and find problems, and when he doesn't find one, he makes them up. I think he just likes reminding people who is in charge. Just yesterday, he picked on our newest colleague.
Please, sir, I did as you asked. Exactly to the letter. I don't understand why you're taking a day's pay away.
Don't question me. Do you want to lose your job as well as your pay?
But sir, I didn't do anything wrong. Is it because I wouldn't go on a date with you?
Shut up. Go sit in the corner if you're going to talk back like a petulant toddler. Go on. Jessica stood in the corner, shoulders shaking as she cried. Everyone's anger at Richard rose impossibly higher. The worst part, she was still later fired. At lunch later in the day, I saw Richard throw his soup at the cafeteria worker. Disgusting! Clean that up! You make me sick! Yes, sir. Sorry, sir. He stood over the worker as he mopped up the mess and prepared a new bowl of soup for my boss. That's a day's wages you've lost there, you embarrassing piece of work. And if you thought he couldn't get worse, you'd be wrong. At the end of the day, he spat on the valet and asked why his car was still filthy, even though it was sparkling clean. Don't expect to be getting paid today if you're going to stand around being lazy. Safe to say, I was not looking forward to getting into work, but I needed the job. I needed the experience. I was hoping to move up in the company and make a name for myself, but every new day made me realize that it wasn't possible. I had no idea my life was about to take a wild turn. I was on my way to work, driving through the pouring rain, when I saw an accident up ahead. A car had skidded and slammed into a pole. Smoke rose from the hood, and people just stood there, gawking but doing nothing. That's when I saw her. A frail, elderly woman trapped in the driver's seat, shaking. My car screeched to a stop, and I jumped out without hesitation. I rushed over and pulled open the door. "Ma'am, are you okay? Can you move?" She looked up at me with wide, terrified eyes. Her wrist was bleeding, her breathing was unsteady, and her gaze was unfocused. I wasn't a doctor, but suspected she had a concussion. I helped her out, shielding her from the rain with my jacket as the ambulance arrived. She gripped my hand tightly before they took her away, her eyes filled with gratitude.
Thank you, dear boy. I hope one day I can reward you for the kindness you've shown today.
Goodness, no. Don't worry, everyone deserves help. I don't need a reward for doing what anyone should have done. I watched the ambulance drive away, and then I stayed behind until the police took my details and they towed her car away. They ensured I was okay, and I promised them I was. They escorted me to my work. Do you need us to explain to your boss why you're late? No, sir. Thank you, but I'm sure when I explain, he'll understand. You did a good job today, lad. You should be proud. The police officer left, and I felt warm inside. I was proud, but then I looked at my watch and swore. I was late. Not terribly late, just 15 minutes. But that was enough. My boss, Richard, was waiting, arms crossed, sneering like he had been looking for an excuse. "You're late, John." Again. "Sir, I was helping someone who got into an accident." "Do I look like I care? This company doesn't run on sob stories. You think you're special? You're not. You're late, and that comes with consequences." I clenched my fists. I wanted to yell, to explain, but I knew it wouldn't matter. Richard thrived on making people feel powerless. "You're fired." I stared. I was struck dumb. I looked around the office and saw everyone glaring at my boss, but they were as powerless as I was. Richard followed me to my desk and watched with his arms crossed and with a nasty smile as I packed up my desk. Then, I was gone, unemployed and miserable. I sat at home and stared at the blank TV as I ruminated over how I would pay for my rent. Just like that. No discussion, no consideration for the 5 years I'd given to this place. I was shoved out like trash. Days passed. I was angry and humiliated. I spent hours replaying the moment in my head, thinking about how unfair it all was. I applied to jobs, but nothing came through fast enough. Bills piled up. I was drowning. Then something insane happened. I got a call.
John, this is Eleanor Whitmore.
The name didn't register at first, until she said,
You helped me during the accident. I wanted to thank you personally.
It hit me. The woman I had helped. The woman whose life I probably saved. "Good morning, ma'am. How are you feeling now?"
Much better, dear boy. Actually, I have something curious to share with you. See, I spoke with the police and they told me your name. I asked my son to help me find you. You young ones know all about this new technology stuff, and it turns out you work for his company.
She wasn't just any elderly lady. She was the mother of our company's CEO. Wow, that's a wild coincidence. I'm glad to hear you're okay. But actually, I don't work there anymore. I was fired.
Is that so? 1 second.
I waited for a few minutes, but then she came back on the line.
My son assures me that you're still employed and being paid.
I explained to her everything that had happened on the day I helped her, and she asked me to come into the office to meet with her son. In the lobby of the building, I saw Richard, and he went bright red. "What are you doing here? Get out! I fired you! Mr. Whitmore will see you now." Richard turned to the security guard in confusion. "I didn't plan to meet the CEO, not you, John." That redness in Richard's face bled out and left behind just white. I went upstairs and was great by the old lady and the CEO. We talked for hours, and they started gathering evidence. Jessica was called up and given a job. Then, just after the clock struck 3, we all went home with a plan in place for the next day. I went into work and sat at my desk like nothing was the matter. Jessica came in not long after and winked at me. When Richard arrived, 10 minutes late, he saw me and exploded. "Get out!"
Actually, the CEO has specifically requested he keep his job. But you, Richard, you'll be lucky if you get paid another day.
"What are you talking about?"
Go stand in the corner.
"You don't tell me what to do." Actually, she does. "Go stand in the corner." Again, Richard went pale, but after the CEO pointed out the corner, Richard shuffled over and stood with his back to the room. All of his employees watched and snickered. Richard kept trying to sneak a look at the room, but the CEO barked for him to turn back to the wall. After about 30 minutes, the CEO and I finished our whispered conversation. "Richard, come here now." Richard came to stand in front of the CEO, who was much taller than him. The CEO shoved a file into Richard's hands. "This is evidence. You've been skimming money, Richard, stealing wages from employees, harassing people, running this company like your personal kingdom. You're done." Richard's eyes went wide. He opened his mouth, but no words came. Security was already moving. The CEO could have fired him, but he did better. "You should know that you're not going to be hired anywhere ever again. We're your best bet. And here's what's going to happen. You're going to come into the office every day and stand in the corner for an hour, just like you made your employees do. Then, you'll go to the cafeteria and serve your employees their food and clean up after them. Then, you'll be down in the car park, washing the cars for your employees. Oh, sorry, they're not your employees anymore. They're your bosses. And if you refuse, I'll take everything to the police. And you know what that means. You'll be going away for a very long time." His punishment started straight away. He stood in the corner for an hour while people laughed at him. All the employees in the building came by to laugh at him. Then, he went to the cafeteria to put on a hairnet and apron and serve soup to his former employees. At the end of the day, he was put into overalls and set to wash all the cars before the end of the day. When I went down to my car later, I saw him washing my car. Good work, Richard. Don't miss a spot. And let me tell you, revenge has never tasted sweeter. But that wasn't the end of it. One day, I found him sitting alone on a bench outside the office, his uniform stained with grease from the cafeteria. His hands trembled as he lit a cigarette, a far cry from the arrogant tyrant who once controlled my career. Tough day? He looked up at me, the fire in his eyes long gone. There was no fight left in him. Only regret. Only shame. You think this is funny? No, Richard. I think it's justice. I walked away, leaving him with the life he had built for himself. A life of humiliation, regret, and consequences. And I was just getting started on my new job, personally recommended by Eleanor Whitmore herself. Some people say karma isn't real, but trust me, I've seen it firsthand. The next day, the cafeteria was buzzing with laughter. Employees who once feared Richard now openly mocked him. He had no power left, no authority, just a cheap uniform and the daily grind of washing dishes. One day, the CEO decided to pay a visit. The entire company watched as he walked into the cafeteria, elegance and authority radiating from him. Richard looked up, and for a moment, hope flickered in his eyes. Maybe he would show him mercy. He didn't. You had everything, Richard, and you wasted it.
Now you'll serve the people you once tormented.
And with that, he handed him his tray. He had no choice but to take it. The cafeteria roared with laughter. The once mighty boss was now a servant. Weeks passed. The humiliation only grew. Employees accidentally spilled their drinks near him. He had to mop it up. They made special requests, extra seasoning, special napkins, making him scramble to serve them. And then there was the car washing. Employees started leaving extra dirty cars just for him. Mud, paint, gum on the seats, anything to make his suffering last a little longer. One day, as I walked past him scrubbing the wheels of my car, I couldn't resist. Richard, I think you missed a spot. And for the first time in his life, Richard didn't sneer, didn't roll his eyes. He just nodded. He was defeated. Some might say I should feel bad for him. But I don't. Because karma always wins. Richard didn't subscribe. Look where that got him. Don't be like Richard. Subscribe.
Clara had always been their pride and joy, and they never hesitated to show her how much they adored her. When I was 5 and Clara was 7, I remember one birthday in particular that made things clearer. Clara's birthday was a grand affair, filled with friends, presents, a huge cake, and even a pony ride in our backyard. I stood by the window, watching as she laughed and played with her friends, dressed in the beautiful pink dress my mother had bought for her. She was showered with so many gifts I could barely count them. The next day, when it was my birthday, I received a single doll. No party, no cake. My mother handed it to me casually.
Here, Susan, happy birthday.
And that was it. No balloons, no laughter. Just a doll, and I wasn't even sure they had wrapped it themselves. That was how it always was. From the beginning, it was clear that my parents only had room in their hearts for one daughter, and that was my older sister, Clara. Clara was smart and looked just like our mother. She was the center of their world, the one who could do no wrong. Me? I was just the other one, the invisible one. Clara had always been their pride and joy, and they never hesitated to show her how much they adored her. When I was 5 and Clara was 7, I remember one birthday in particular that made things clearer. Clara's birthday was a grand affair, filled with friends, presents, a huge cake, and even a pony ride in our backyard. I stood by the window, watching as she laughed and played with her friends, dressed in the beautiful pink dress my mother had bought for her. She was showered with so many gifts I could barely count them. The next day, when it was my birthday, I received a single doll. No party, no cake. My mother handed it to me casually.
Here, Susan, happy birthday.
And that was it. No balloons, no laughter. Just a doll, and I wasn't even sure they had wrapped it themselves. That was how it always was. Clara got everything. The best clothes, the most attention, and all the love they had to give. I, on the other hand, was left with scraps, with only the bare minimum to get by. It wasn't just about material things, though. It was deeper than that. Whenever Clara had a school play, both of my parents would be there, sitting in the front row, clapping louder than anyone else. But when it was my turn to be in a play, they'd either forget or make excuses. I remember one year, when I was 10, I had the lead role in a small school production. I told them about it for weeks, but when the day came, I looked out into the audience and saw only empty seats where they should have been. I cried and couldn't perform as the leader. The teacher had to take me out and call my parents, but they didn't even come to pick me up. When I got home, my parents didn't even care to know why I cried. They simply thought I was weak.
Maybe Clara could help you next time. She's always been better at these kinds of things.
Clara was the golden child, the one who received all their attention, all their hopes, all their dreams. It wasn't long before I stopped trying to impress them. I wasn't good enough. I would never be enough for them. As I got older, the favoritism only worsened. When Clara turned 16, they threw her a lavish Sweet 16 party, complete with a live band, a custom cake, and enough decorations to fill a ballroom. Everyone from school was invited, and my parents spared no expense. But when I turned 16, all I got was a simple dinner at home.
We're saving money for Clara's college. We can't afford to spend money on irrelevant things for now. You understand, don't you?
You're not as outgoing as Clara anyway. You wouldn't enjoy something like that.
They didn't even try to hide their preference for her anymore. They had given up on me. Then, when I turned 18, things took a turn I never could have predicted. My father's wealth was tied to several businesses, and he frequently entertained clients at our home. One of those clients was Mr. Donovan, a wealthy businessman who had been doing business with my father for years. I didn't like him. He was a tall man and looked very intimidating, but my parents were always polite to him. One evening, I was clearing the table after dinner when I overheard a conversation between Mr. Donovan and my parents.
She's a good girl, Donovan. Quiet, obedient. She'll make you happy.
We've never had any trouble with her. She's always been the easy one.
Are you sure she'll fit in with my plans? She's a bit younger than I was thinking. She's better off with you. Honestly, we never even planned to have her. We're fine with Clara. Susan is more like a liability to us.
They were selling me off to him, like some kind of property. They didn't love me. They never had. My parents didn't even look sad when they told me.
You're leaving with Mr. Donovan. He'll take care of you.
They didn't even hug me goodbye. I left with Mr. Donovan that day, feeling utterly abandoned. I was devastated. How could my own parents, the people who were supposed to love and protect me, sell me off like I was nothing? But something strange happened after I left with Mr. Donovan. He didn't treat me like I expected. Instead of the cold, heartless man I had feared he would be, he was kind to me. Genuinely kind. Over time, I realized that he hadn't bought me to hurt me or use me. He had taken me in because he had no children of his own, and he had seen how neglected I had been. He wanted to give me a better life, a chance to be happy. Mr. Donovan treated me like a daughter, not a possession. He paid for me to go to college, encouraged me to pursue my dreams, and even helped me start my own fashion house when I graduated. He was there for me in ways my real parents never had been, and for the first time in my life, I felt like I belonged somewhere. As the years passed, our relationship grew stronger. I started calling him Dad, and he welcomed it with open arms. He even met a kind woman, who later became his wife. They had a child together, and suddenly, we were a real family. Life was good, I was successful, I had a family who loved me, and I had finally found happiness. Years later, I returned to my birth country as part of a charity project. I had become involved in helping at a local shelter home, and it was during one of these visits that I saw my parents. I almost didn't recognize them at first. They had aged so much, their faces now lined with wrinkles and worn down by hardship. They looked frail, broken, and lost. I hadn't seen them in years, and now, here they were, seeking refuge in the very shelter home I was helping. When they saw me, recognized me, and immediately dropped to their knees, weeping.
Susan, we're so sorry. We made a terrible mistake. Forgive us, please. We regret everything.
Clara ruined us. She got involved with gambling and lost everything. Our house, our cars, it's all gone. We're in debt, Susan. We have nothing left.
I was stunned. Clara, the golden child who could do no wrong, had brought them to ruin. It was almost poetic.
We don't deserve your forgiveness, but please, help us. We don't have anywhere else to go.
We're sorry for what we did to you. We thought Clara would always take care of us. But she's gone, Susan. She's gone, and we need you.
I couldn't believe my ears. For years, I had waited for that moment when they would finally realize how wrong they had been and how much they had hurt me. And now, here they were, broken, begging for my forgiveness. They had thrown me away like I was nothing, and now they wanted me to save them. They didn't deserve my forgiveness. They didn't deserve anything from me.
Susan, please. We were wrong. We know that now. We're paying for our mistakes. Please, help us.
I knew they weren't sorry for what they did to me. They were only sorry because they had lost everything. They were desperate, and I wasn't going to let them manipulate me. You chose Clara over me my entire life. You sold me off to a stranger because you didn't want me. You never cared about me. And now that you've lost everything, you come to me, hoping that I'll fix it for you? You want me to save you after everything you did to me? No, you don't get to do that.
Susan, please.
No, you deserve everything that's happening to you. You deserve to lose it all. And Clara? I hope she never finds peace. I hope she suffers the way I did, the way you made me suffer. While I was speaking, the shelter's manager came to ask what the matter was and if I was okay. Make sure these two people are never taken in. Blacklist their names from every shelter. They don't deserve anyone's help. The manager didn't ask any questions. He agreed to my decision and left. My parents cried louder and kept begging me, but I pushed them off and walked out of the shelter. But it wasn't over. I went to find where my parents were living and discovered it was an old, uncompleted building. It was barely livable, but it was still a shelter. And I wasn't about to let them have even that. I tracked down the owner of the building and made him an offer he couldn't refuse. It didn't take long for the papers to be signed, and just like that, the building was mine. I ordered the previous landlord to go to them and ask them to leave immediately.
What do you mean we have to leave? You can't do this to us.
We have nowhere else to go. Don't do this, please.
Please, just give us more time. Give us time to find somewhere else. Please.
I'm sorry, but the new owner doesn't want anyone living here. You have to go.
My mother was in tears as my father tried to argue, but it was no use. I stepped out of my hiding place and ordered them to get out of my building. They were visibly shocked. Before they could beg, I ordered security to throw their things outside. It was snowing. I almost laughed, but I kept a straight face after thinking about all they had done to me. They had nothing left, no home, no money, no family. They were alone, just like they had made me feel all those years ago. I didn't feel sorry for them, not even a little. Weeks passed, and I heard through someone that my parents were now living on the streets, reduced to begging for scraps. I could have helped them. I could have given them shelter, a second chance at life. But I didn't. They didn't deserve it. They didn't deserve my forgiveness, my kindness, or my pity. In the years that followed, I focused on my own life. I expanded my fashion business, traveled the world, and grew closer to the family that truly loved me. They had given me everything I had ever needed, and I owed them everything. They were my real parents, the ones who had cared for me when no one else did. As for my birth parents, I didn't hear much about them after that. I knew they continued to live as beggars, struggling to survive day by day. And Clara? She was never heard from again. Rumor had it that she was still held captive by one of her debtors. Forced to serve them as payment for her gambling debts, she was used as their slave. It seemed fitting in a way. She had always taken everything for granted, and now she was paying the price. I sometimes wondered if I had made the right choice, if I should have forgiven them and given them another chance. But then I remembered all the years of neglect, the pain they had caused me, and the fact that they had sold me off without a second thought. No, I had made the right choice. They had made their bed, and now they were lying in it. And I was finally free. Free from their shadows, free from their neglect, and free to live the life I had always deserved. The life they had never wanted me to have. Thanks for watching. Make sure to subscribe and leave a comment down below saying I subscribed, and we will try our best to reply to your comment.